One night in the Hidden Leaf village, the villagers are having a great night until the giant fox with 9 tails called the Nine-Tailed Fox suddenly attack. Many ninjas tries to protect the village. A few moments later, a giant toad come to face the Nine-Tailed Fox in battle. One shinobi was on top of the giant toad's head, he the fourth Hokage, leader of the Leaf village. He looked at the baby in his arms before he laid down the baby on the toad's head behind him and made several quick hand signs. Reaper Death Seal. Fourth Hokage shouted, and with a flash the Nine-Tailed Fox was sealed in the baby. The fourth Hokage slowly dying because to use the Reaper Death Seal, he did to sacrifice his own life. He used his last strength to jump off the giant toad, before the giant toad vanishing. When he on the ground he looked at the baby again. You will be a great ninja and a great hero my son, Naruto Uzumaki. Fourth Hokage said before he died. The third Hokage walked over to the fourth Hokage and Naruto. He picked Naruto up and walked back to the village. On his way to his office of the Hokage Tower, the villagers saw the fourth Hokage and the Nine-Tailed Fox battle, and want to kill Naruto. Kill the demon. One of the villagers said. The third Hokage sighs as he kept on walking. When he got to his office, he sent Anbu to get the orphanage owner. A while later the owner come. You want to see me? Owner asked. Yes, I want you to take Naruto to your orphanage. Third said. Are you insane? That is the fox demon. Owner said. The third sighs again before he took out some money from his desk dresser and give to the owner. The owner takes the money. Fine. Owner said before the third give Naruto to him and walk off to the orphanage. 4 years later, the kid was thrown out of the orphanage. Get out kid. The owner said. Why? The kid asked. Look, you're old enough to take care of yourself, besides no one want to adopt you. The owner said before he walked back in his orphanage. Did look at the orphanage for the moment then he walked away. He's got blonde hair and whisker marks on his face. He wears an orange jumpsuit. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. Why does everyone hate me? Naruto asked to himself. He walked over the group of villagers. The villagers give him few glares. A few moments later, his stomach gave out a loud roar of complaint. I'm so hungry. Naruto said before he smelled something. That smells good. Naruto thought before he followed the smell. He followed the smell for a few minutes, then he stopped and looked at what he headed to. A purple-haired woman with a long brown trench coat sitting by the table outside of the restaurant, eating some dumplings. He walked to her to see if the woman does not hate him, but still he kept his hopes low. Look, it the demon brat. A voice said behind him. Naruto slowly turned around and saw some group of villagers with some Chunin and one jonin. At him. Jonin yelled before he and the others ran to Naruto. Naruto ran for his life. He ran past restaurant followed by group. He turned a corner, only to find himself in a dead-end alleyway. He slowly turned to face the group and backed up against the wall. The group was moving closer and closer to him. Then when they got near him they started beating him. Why? Naruto asked in pain. Because you deserve to die, demon. Jonin said. Leave him alone. A voice yelled. The same woman Naruto saw at the restaurant drop off a nearby roof, landing gracefully in between Naruto and the group. Get out of the way, Anko. One of the Chunin said. Yeah, can't you see we are trying to kill the demon? One of the villagers said. What demon? All I see is a poor child being beaten by idiots like you. Anko yelled. Figures, no matter, one dead woman with a brat won't make a difference. Jonin said. The group began to move towards the woman and child. Pure killer intent was raining down upon both of them. I'm warning you, back off. Anko yelled as she prepared to fight. Or what? One of the Chunin asked. Or else I'll get involved. A voice said. With a puff of smoke, various Jonin now stood in between the attackers and ones being attacked. He had spiky, silver hair that defied gravity and a mask that covered the lower part of his face. His Konoha forehead protector was covering his left eye, leaving only the right one uncovered on his face. Kakashi, let's get out of here. Jonin yelled. With that, they turned and fled. The Kakashi sighed and turned to face Anko and Naruto. Are you two alright? Kakashi asked. Naruto and Anko slowly nodded their heads. Good. Now then Naruto, I need you to come with me. Kakashi said. Naruto looked at Kakashi in fear. What if this was another trick for more people to hurt him? He clung Anko's legs with his arms and legs, making Anko to fall back on her butt. Kakashi just laughed. I promise, nothing will happen and if it make you safe, Anko can come. Kakashi said. Naruto slowly nodded his head and slowly let go of Anko's legs. Anko stood back up on her feet and scooped Naruto up in her arms. The two took off towards Hokage Tower. On the way, Naruto passed out from injuries. In his office, the third Hokage sat taking a break from the overflowing paperwork on his desk. He took one long puff on his pipe before trying to get back to work. He sighed. He picked up his pen to do some signing when he heard a knock on his door. Yes. The third Hokage called out. Two visitors for you, Lord Hokage. The woman behind the door called out. Please, send them in. The third Hokage said. The woman nodded and through the doors entered Anko, along with Kakashi. Anko holding Naruto. What happened? The third Hokage asked. He was being attacked by a group of villagers with some Chunin and Jonin. Anko arrived to aid in his protection first, and when I arrived, I were able to drive the rest of them off. Kakashi said. Anko, how did you know that Naruto was in trouble? The third Hokage asked. Anko slowly walked over to a couch nearby and placed Naruto on it to rest. While I was enjoying some dumplings, I heard a noise. I saw a kid run followed by group. I followed them on the roofs. When I saw the kid getting beaten, I got mad and did you say Naruto? Anko asked after she realized what the third Hokage said. Yes, his full name is Naruto Uzumaki. The third Hokage said. Uzumaki, he's the kid with the fox demon sealed in him, right? Anko asked. Yes, as a result, many of the people see him as the demon itself, instead of a carrier for it. Kakashi said. Just like me, Anko said to herself. What was that? The third Hokage asked. Nothing, so what will happen now? Anko asked. The nurse is on the way to treat some of his wounds, after which I will place him in the orphanage again. The third Hokage said. Again, you mean this isn't the first time he's been there? Anko asked. I'm afraid not. He must have been kicked out of the orphanage. The third Hokage said. So why are you sending him back even though they'll just toss him back out? Anko asked. It is not easy to always be there for him, most of the jonin running missions and Lord Hokage, working to restore order to the town after the demon's attack. Kakashi said. Anko looked at the boy with her eyes beginning to water. He was being forced to suffer because of the village's issues of not being able to look deep into who Naruto really is. It was just like her on so many levels. Even after becoming one of the youngest jonin ever, she was still looked at as the scum of the village, much like Naruto. The nurse walked in and there was silence for the next 30 minutes. After she had done the treatment, she bowed and left, leaving the three and Naruto to themselves again. Well, you should both retire for the evening. Thank you for protecting Naruto for me, Anko. The third Hokage said. Wait, I want to adopt Naruto. Anko suddenly said. You? Kakashi asked in surprise. Are you sure about that? I mean, it seems rather rushed that you just jumped to that conclusion. The third Hokage asked. I'm sure. I want to protect Naruto from what I go through and what path in life I took because of the pain of being alone. Anko said. The third Hokage scratched his beard and nodded. Take the boy home tonight. Kakashi shall escort you both there. Spend time with him tonight and tomorrow, and then be back here around 6 p.m. to make your final decision. The third Hokage said. Anko nodded and walked to Naruto. She carefully held him in her arms, and in an act that surprised them all, Anko included, kissed him on the forehead, telling him that he would not have to be alone ever again. Kakashi escorted the two to the place she called home. It's the Lone Tower, which rested in the Forest of Death. When they get there, Anko put Naruto on her bed, then she went to her living room where Kakashi is. I think that this will be good for the both of you, Anko. Kakashi said. I know it's just raising a kid is a lot of work. Anko said. You'll be fine if you have doubts though, I would be glad to take him off your hands for you. Kakashi said. No way. I'd rather die than to see someone as innocent as him turn into a pervert like yourself. Anko yelled. See, you're on the right track already. I must be off now, make sure you go report to Lord Hokage tomorrow. Kakashi said before he vanished with a puff of smoke. Anko let out a small sigh as she returned to her bedroom. She pulled a chair to her bed and then sat back down. Naruto was drenched with sweat as he began to kick in fear, as if he was having a nightmare. Anko slowly rubbed the side of cheek. His kicking slowed and then stopped, as if it had been enough to calm him down. Anko took Naruto's hand and held it tight. Naruto woke up. Where am I? Naruto asked. Naruto looking around his current location. He then saw Anko. Both of their eyes truly meeting for the first time. Hi kid. Anko said with a smile. A part of her felt like kicking herself for shouting it like that. My name is Anko, what yours? Anko asked. Naruto. Naruto said. Naruto nice name. Anko said. You the one who saved me, right? Naruto asked. Why, yes I am. Anko said. Thank you, Naruto said. Are you hungry? You look like you would be after sleeping for a long time like that. Anko asked. Naruto gave a slow nod. Well, what say we head to the kitchen and get you something to eat, okay? Anko asked. Anko got out of the bed and held her hand out for him to take. Naruto slowly took her hand. He climbed off the bed and slowly walked with her to the kitchen. When they in the kitchen, Anko took Naruto to a small table and sat him down. Alright Naruto, what would you like to eat? Anko asked. Naruto looked down at the ground for a minute and another small smile appeared on the child's face. Do you have any ramen? Naruto asked. Let me see. Anko said before she walked to the cabinets. Anko opened the cabinets and pulled a small cup out. Well, yes I do. Anko said. Naruto's small smile grew a little wider at this. Anko chuckled to herself about the small boy's reaction. Anko prepared the ramen cup and sat it down at the table. Next she walked over to the refrigerator. Let's see, here we go. Every kid likes milk. Anko said as she got out the milk. Anko reached into the cabinet again and pulled out a small cup. After pouring the milk into the cup, she walked it over to him and sat down beside him. Naruto was quickly eating the ramen, like he never had a meal before. Anko sighed when she realized that he probably missed a lot of meals. She slowly put her hand in his hair and patted his head. Naruto jumped at the touch, afraid that he had done something wrong. Anko saw this. Hey easy, I just thought you'd enjoy the ramen more if you slowed down to taste it. Anko said. Naruto nodded and slowed down to eat. He must truly enjoy the stuff. Anko made a note to herself to buy some ramen and milk when she went shopping tomorrow. When Naruto finished his ramen, Anko picked him up into her arms. I think someone needs a bath. I bet I could write my name in the dirt that's on your face. Anko said as she pinched her nose for emphasis. Naruto giggled at this quietly, imagining the woman writing her name on his face by using her finger. Anko carried him to the small bathroom and filled the tub a little bit. She then undressed Naruto and sat him inside of the tub. It took her about 15 minutes, but after a while she finished scrubbing the dirt off of his body. From there, she moved on to his hair. It was a tangled mess, but she had to clean it. Naruto's face winced a little as she scrubbed through the dirt in his hair. Did I forget to mention that Naruto was covered with dirt when he was thrown out and got beaten? When Anko finished bath Naruto, she pulled Naruto out of the tub and brushed his hair, just to find out that it extended just past his shoulders. The bangs were so long that they covered one of his eyes. I have an idea, Anko said. Anko picked him up with a towel wrapped around him and took him back to the bedroom. She took one of the kunai from her coat pocket and slowly lifted the hair that covered his eye. Naruto was a little scared at this. Was she going to attack him like the villagers did? He closed his eyes and prepared for the worst, only to hear a light slice. He opened his eyes and saw a small pile of hair form at his feet. Anko smiled. It'd be a shame to cover those eyes of yours. Now, let's get you some clothes on. I don't need to see you running around naked, Anko said. Naruto happily took her hand and they walked over to her dresser. She reached in and pulled out a long shirt. She then watched as he put it on, nearly disappearing from its massive size. She then reached into her top drawer and pulled out a small hairband, one like she used in her hair, and pulled Naruto's up into a ponytail, so it wouldn't get tangled while he slept. She sat Naruto on the bed and excused herself to the bathroom, assuring him that she'd be right back. A few moments later, she returned wearing a long shirt similar to Naruto's. Anko then climbed in with him. He had a small grin on his face, one that was real instead of the grins he had earlier. "Hey Naruto?" Anko asked as she turned off the lights. "What?" Naruto asked. "How would you like it if we spent tomorrow with each other? I'll buy you some clothes, toys and maybe even some ninja supplies." Anko said. "What a ninja?" Naruto asked. "Well, a ninja is a person who protects people. They fight to aid those in need, protect the village, and go on missions to various places, seeing the world as they do." Anko said. "Cool, I want to be that too. I want to be the greatest ninja ever," Naruto said as he yawned. Anko smiled and kissed the now sleeping Naruto on the forehead. She put her arms around him and held him tight. There was no doubt about it in her head. She would raise and nurture this child just like he should be. The two slept through the night with waking up once. Anko woke early that morning and went into the kitchen. She made a cup of coffee and then sat down at the table, making a list of things she'd need for Naruto. "Let's see, what things does the squirt need? Toys, clothes, a few books, some other things like food and milk. As much as I can't stand to say it, I doubt the runt could live on just dango and sake like me," Anko said to herself. Anko heard a loud yawn in the hallway and saw little Naruto walk into the kitchen. "Morning, Squirt, did you sleep good?" Anko said. "Yup," Naruto yelled as he pumped his fist into the air for emphasis. Naruto climbed into the chair beside Anko. "What are you, Miss Anko?" Naruto asked. "Just Anko is fine. Miss Anko makes me sound old. Now, to answer your question, I'm writing down some stuff we're going to get you today," Anko said as she patting him on the head. "Really?" Naruto asked. "Yep. Tell me, what things you like to eat, Naruto?" Anko asked with a wide grin. "I like miso ramen. Ooh, and beef ramen. Pork ramen, and chicken too," Naruto said as he thinking about his favorite meal. Anko laughed at the thought. He was almost addicted to the stuff as she was to dango. Naruto smiled happily as Anko wrote down some of the different kinds of ramen he mentioned. They then hopped down from the table. Naruto sat in the bedroom while the girl freshened up in the bathroom. After a small amount of time, she emerged wearing her normal attire. A fishnet bodysuit, khaki miniskirt, and long brown trench coat. She tied her headband around her head and scooped Naruto up in her arms. "Ready to hit the town, Squirt?" Anko asked. "Yep. Let's go, Anko," Naruto yelled. She leapt her way through the forest until the duo reached Konoha. It was still early, so there weren't many people walking the street. If there was, they weren't paying attention to the boy. Knowing that Anko would kill them should they try to do something was enough to keep them at bay. They quickly made their way to the shopping district. The first thing they decided to do was to buy the boy some clothes. Right now, he was still wearing the long shirt he got from Anko last night. "So Naruto, what kind of clothes did you wear at the orphanage?" Anko asked as they walked into the clothing store. "I had a bright orange jumpsuit. I washed it every month," Naruto said as Anko put him down and took him by the hand. "Didn't you have any other clothes?" Anko asked. "No, just the one," Naruto said. If they only gave him one outfit, they should have let him wash it more than once a month. Anko thought in angry. "Is something wrong, Anko?" Naruto asked. She snapped out of her anger and smiled at the boy. "Everything is just fine. Now let's get you some style," Anko said with a smile. They walked around the store looking at various things. After many trial and errors, they picked 8 pairs of baggy black pants, 6 sleeveless black shirts, a pair of black boots, and much to Naruto's begging and happiness, a long black coat like Anko's. Next stop was the bookstore. Anko picked out a few kiddie books for Naruto that had a few fairy tales in them. As she was paying for the books, a jonin with silver hair entered the store. He immediately recognized the two. Anko simply waved to him as she saw him move to the corner of the adult section of the store. "It's that man who saved our lives." "Who was that guy?" Naruto asked. "That was Kakashi the pervert. You make sure to call him that every day, okay?" Anko asked with a smile. "Okay," Naruto said. They went to the toy shop next. Anko bought Naruto a stuffed fox, several toy ninjas and a teddy bear. It was about noon at that point, so they stopped to get the two some dango while they were on that side of town. Naruto had never had it before. His little hands picked up a stick and he sniffed it like a little fox would. He then slowly took a nibble of it in his mouth and smiled happily. The two cleared 3 full plates in no time. Anko returned to the tower to drop off the things they had bought so far. Naruto played happily in the floor where a fighting ring of sorts was located. He was having his teddy bear and fox have a fight against the ninjas. Anko looked over at him from the balcony above and leapt over it into the ring. "Having fun, Squirt?" Anko asked. "Yep," Naruto said. "We need to go run some more errands, okay?" Anko asked. "Okay," Naruto said. Anko picked up and tossed him into the air. Naruto giggled happily as she caught him in her arms and hugged him tight. She then put him on her shoulders and made her way back to town. It was about 6 o'clock p.m., so Anko made her way to the Hokage's tower. She walked through the entrance and smiled as she passed Kurenai in the hallway. "Hello, Anko, Naruto. Lord Hokage has been expecting you," Kurenai said with a smile. "What? I'm not in trouble, am I?" Naruto asked. Naruto's smile began to fade some. Anko hugged the child tightly in her arms. "You're not in trouble, Squirt," Anko said. Naruto's smile returned. "Hey, Kurenai?" Anko asked. "Yes," Kurenai asked. "I was wondering if you could keep an eye on my Squirt here while I talk to the old man," Anko asked. Kurenai was about to say something. "You can, thanks." Anko before Kurenai could even answer. Anko put Naruto down then kissed Naruto on the cheek. "You wait right there with Auntie Kurenai and I'll be right back, okay?" Anko asked. "Okay," Naruto said before he turned back to Kurenai as Anko walked into the Hokage's office. The old man was working on the paperwork sitting on his desk. He looked up when he saw Anko come in and smiled. "Anko, I trust everything has gone well." The third Hokage asked. Yes, Lord Hokage. Naruto has enjoyed himself, and I did as well. Anko said. Have you made a decision? The third Hokage asked. Yes, sir. I wish to make the adoption of Naruto Uzumaki official. Anko said. Very well, you may go. The third Hokage said. What? Anko asked. He's your son now. Take him home and treat him well. I leave Mitarashi Naruto in your care from now on. The third Hokage said. Anko smiled and thanked the Hokage. The two walked out of the office and saw Naruto sitting Kurenai's lap, telling her about Anko's and his day. Naruto saw Anko walk out the door and hopped of Kurenai. Anko? Naruto yelled as he hugged her. Naruto, do you always want a mother? The third Hokage asked. Yes, old man. Naruto said. Well then, Naruto, you got your wish. The third Hokage said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Naruto, I adopted you today. Anko said as she took the boy in her arms and smiled. Really? I have a new mother now? Naruto asked. Anko nodded. Naruto looked at her for only one moment. He then latched his arms around her and cried happily. Anko hugged her son tightly, never wanting to let go. The Hokage and Kurenai smiled and left the two alone. With her son in her arms, Anko returned home. They had dinner and then went to bed. Naruto smiled, as he had never been happier before. Anko woke and looked at the small child sleeping happily beside her. She couldn't believe that she officially made Naruto her child yesterday, even so much as changing his last name to hers. She let out a slow yawn and decided to go ahead and get up for the day. Let's see, he could use a new playmate. It'd be nice for him to have someone his own age to keep him company. Anko said to herself, sipping a small amount coffee in her cup. What, mommy? Naruto asked. Anko turned around as she saw the little boy rubbing his eyes sleepily. She knelt down to his level and kissed his forehead. Just talking to myself, squirt. Did you sleep well? Anko asked as she ran her hand through Naruto's hair. Yup. Mommy, you make a good pillow. Naruto said with a smile. Anko almost fell over when she heard that. She felt a strange pressure on her while she was asleep last night, but just shook it off as lying in a weird position. She had no idea that it was Naruto who rolled into her and began to use her for a pillow. Anyways, kid, I was thinking that we can visit some friends of mine today. They have a little girl about your age. I bet she'd love someone like you to play with. Anko said. She noticed that Naruto looked down at the ground and started to move his foot in a circle around the floor. She put her hand on his shoulder and looked into his eyes. A small amount of fear was in his eyes. What wrong, squirt? Anko asked. When I was at orphanage, none of kids would play with me. They would hurt me. What if she's the same way? Naruto asked in fear. Anko picked the boy up into her arms and hugged him tightly. He looked at her face and saw the smile that always made him smile back. He returned the hug. Naruto, they are my best friends, and if they like me, then they'll love you, Anko said with a smile. Really? Naruto asked. Of course, Anko said. Naruto giggled as she tickled his stomach some, and then put him down so he could go get ready. She sighed as she watched him run towards the room, following close behind. After helping Naruto get ready, she allowed him to play in the ring room while she got herself cleaned and dressed. After finishing up, she made her way to Naruto's unofficial playroom and jumped over the railing of the balcony. Naruto jumped into her arms and hugged her. Then I bring Jack? Naruto asked. He pointed down to the stuffed fox that he named Jack. Anko nodded and picked up the fox. Naruto held onto it tightly as they jumped through the forest towards Konoha. They landed in the village and began to head back for the shopping district of the village again. Naruto held her hand tightly as he noticed a few glares coming towards him. Relax, squirt, no one's gonna want to try and hurt you with me here, Anko said. Naruto lightened his grip some. As they turned the corner, Naruto noticed that they were heading for a small weapon shop. Not that he could read the sign, but the large picture of a katana and several ninja stars told him that it was that kind of shop. Anko opened the door for him and then followed the boy inside. Naruto's eyes widened at all the various weapons that lined the walls and display cases. He had never seen so many things like this before, though he remembered hearing about a few of them from a story Anko read to him last night. Behind the counter, he spotted a man working on polishing a katana. We'll be closing for lunch soon, so unless you have business, I ask that you please come back later, the man said. Come on, John, is that any way to talk to a lady as sexy as me? Anko asked with a huge grin. What? Oh, it's just you, Anko, John said. So how's business going? Anko asked. A little slow, but once the Chunin exams start back up in a few weeks, things will pick up, John said. It was at that moment that John saw Naruto hiding behind Anko's leg. He peeked out from behind it as the man knelt down beside him and smiled. Naruto sheepishly smiled back. The man rubbed his hair and stood up to Anko's level. Who the kid? John asked. This is my squirt, Anko said as she picked Naruto up and held him in her arms. Your squirt? I don't remember you having a kid, John said. That because I adopted him yesterday, Anko said with a large grin. Really? John asked. Suddenly, a fist was sent to the back of his head. A slightly small woman looked at him with anger, which then turned to one of happiness as she saw her best friend. Anko walked up and hugged her friend. How are you doing, Kanny? Anko asked. More or less. The little one is getting excited about starting at the academy next week, Kanny said. Speaking of little one, call the kid, I got someone for her to meet, Anko said. Kanny nodded and walked out back. She was gone for about 5 minutes, and finally returned with her hands on a small girl's shoulders. The small girl had her hair up in 2 small buns. Her little brown eyes seemed focused on the small boy in Anko's arms. She wore a simple pink Chinese-style jumpsuit. Anko walked over to the girl and smiled. Have you been good, little girl? Anko asked. Yes, ma'am, the girl said while jumping. Good, then as a reward, you get to have a playmate for a while, Anko said. Who is it? The girl asked. Naruto, this is Tenten. Tenten, this is my boy, Naruto, Anko said as she put the small boy on the ground. Tenten walked towards him, studying him as she walked around. Your name is funny, and you have whiskers on your face, Tenten said. Naruto looked down at the ground in shame. You look like fun, though, Let's go play outside. We can play ninja. Tenten yelled. How do you play that? Naruto asked shyly. I'll show you, silly. You can bring your friend too. Tenten said as she pulled him along and pointing at the stuffed fox. Anko smiled as she watched Naruto be led outside by Tenten. His cheeks were blushing as he turned for a second to see Anko wave and blow him a kiss. She sighed as she sat on the couch and relaxed for a moment. So, how did it happen? John asked. What do you mean? Anko asked. The adoption of Naruto. We all know who he is and that he was at the orphanage, but how'd you manage to get a hold of him? John asked. He was attacked the other day. We know why, but I can't stand it. It sickens me the way people treat him because of something inside of him, without even stopping to think about how they are really two different beings, Anko said in a low voice. So you decided to take action? Kenny asked. Anko nodded. Good. Naruto deserves someone with a good heart like yours to raise him. John said with a smile. Thanks. By the way, I have a favor to ask you. Anko said. Of course. Naruto is welcome anytime to come and play with Tenten, and we'd be happy to watch him during a mission for you, should you need to leave. John said. Anko thanked the two and walked over to the back, looking out the window at Naruto and Tenten playing. Do you see him? Tenten asked. Yep. He's got a lot of people around him. Naruto said as his small face peeked out from behind the bushes. Naruto, they're the bad guys. You need to remember that. Tenten said. Sorry. So how do we save Jack? Naruto asked. We sneak attack. Tenten said. Sneak attack? Naruto asked. Yup. That means that we fight them without being seen. Here, take these. Tenten said as she reached into a small pouch on her belt and pulled out 10 shuriken, handing them to Naruto. Naruto looked at them with a question in his eyes, and then back at Tenten. He was confused. What do I do with these? Naruto asked. Naruto, you silly. You throw them at the bad guys. Try to hit as many as possible, okay? Tenten said with a giggle. Naruto nodded. Both he and Tenten got on the ground and crawled closer to the bad guys, which were really just practice dummies. When they stopped crawling, Tenten nodded at Naruto, who nodded back. Anko began to watch with sudden interest. They both rose up and threw 10 shuriken each towards the dummies. Tenten hit the dummies with all of her shuriken, something that was to be expected since she was the daughter of a weapons expert. Naruto, however, surprised her. He threw all of his, and managed to hit the dummies with 8 of the 10 shuriken. Anko, that was amazing. Have you been training him or something? John asked as he looked out at Naruto and Tenten celebrating the rescue of Jack. I thought about it, but I haven't done anything yet. The only time I mentioned the idea to him of even becoming a shinobi was the other night, and that was just to help calm him down and such for the first night at the tower. Anko said. Maybe you should. He seems to have some natural talent, and he seems to enjoy playing ninja with Tenten as well. Kenny said. Yeah. Anko said. Anko let Naruto and Tenten play for about another hour, and then the two went elsewhere. Naruto promising Tenten to play again later in the week. Tenten happily agreed. Anko walked with Naruto's hand in hers, listening to Naruto's story of the ninja game. They stopped by the ramen stand, where they had some lunch, before she took Naruto to the park to play. Have fun, Squirt. Anko said as she sat on a bench. Naruto nodded and ran off with Jack in his arms to play. He was making his way around the park, noticing several kids playing with each other. A small girl with pink hair was playing tag with a little girl with blonde hair. Another boy with a lazy look in his eye was swinging beside another boy who was eating a bag of chips. They all looked happy, but something caught Naruto's eye. Inside the small sandbox sat a girl with a sad look on her face. She had pale eyes and short hair, which was a little shorter than Naruto's. She wore a small brown jacket. Naruto walked up to her and sat beside her. What wrong? Naruto asked. WW, what do you mean? The girl asked as she looked at him. You look sad. Jack said that I should see if you were okay. Naruto said. Oh, I'm okay, the girl said. No, I know that look, you're lonely. So, why don't we play together? Naruto asked. Why you play with me? The girl asked. The girl began to push her two index fingers together and fidget with them. Yep. My name is Naruto Midarashi. Who are you? Naruto asked. And my name is Hinata Hyuga. Hinata said, shyly. Anko smiled as she saw the two engage in little conversation. The girl stuttering through almost every word. Naruto encouraging her to be more open. She laughed at the sight. Well, what do you know? Look like Naruto can make friends with anyone if they're willing to accept him as the boy and not as the demon. Be it a family of weapon merchants or the daughter of one of the most prestigious clans in the village. Anko thought. Naruto and Hinata had just finished building a sand castle. Hey, Hinata, do you want to go on the swings? Naruto asked happily as he pointed at the swings. Sure. Sure. Hinata said. Hop on, I'll push you. Naruto said as he held the swing so that Hinata could sit on it. Hinata sat down and Naruto began to slowly push her, and then he pushed her higher. Ah, Naruto. Please, not so high up. Hinata said as she tightened her grip on the chain. Sure thing, Naruto said. Hey freak. Man yelled as he approached Naruto and Hinata. Naruto's eyes filled with fear as he felt himself being pulled up by the neck. My kid wants to swing, so get lost. Man said while he glared deeply at Naruto. Hey. A voice yelled behind the man. The man turns around and saw Anko standing with a kunai in her hand. Get away from my son. Anko yelled. For what? The man asked. Or else I'll get involved. Another voice said behind the man. The man turns around again and saw Hinata's father, Hiashi Hyuga, the head of the Hyuga clan. The man gasped in surprise. He didn't expect to see him here. He left. He knew better than to mess with Lord Hyuga. You okay? Hiashi asked. Yes, father. Hinata said. Are you alright, Naruto? Anko asked as she checked up on him. Yes, mommy. Naruto said. Mommy? I thought Naruto doesn't have a parents. Hiashi said. I adopted him yesterday, Lord Hyuga. Anko said with a bow. I see. Hinata, why do you go play with Naruto while I talk with his mother? Hiashi said. Oh okay, FF father. Hinata said before she and Naruto walk off to play. So, you adopted Naruto? Hiashi asked. Yes, Lord Hyuga. Anko said. Good, I was hoping that Naruto will have a mother. Hiashi said with a smile. You don't hate him? Anko asked in surprise. Of course not, his father was my teammate and my best friend. Hiashi said. Anko smiled about this. Tomorrow is Hinata's 4th birthday, how about you and Naruto come over? Hiashi asked. I think that a great idea. We'll be there. Anko said. Anko smiled as she walked over to Naruto, who jumped into his mother's arms. He said goodbye to Hinata, promising to be back again another day to play. Did you have fun today, Squirt? Anko asked as the two headed home. Yes. Naruto said with a yawn. There was a silence as the two returned home. Anko prepared Naruto a light dinner, gave him a bath, and read him a story. Squirt? Anko asked. Yes, mommy? Naruto asked. Tomorrow is Hinata's birthday. Would you like to wishing her a happy birthday? Anko asked. That will be great. Naruto said. Anko and Naruto climbed into bed and turned out the lights. Anko fell asleep almost instantly, but Naruto lay there, staring at the ceiling. The thoughts of him going to Hinata's place for her birthday raced through his mind. Naruto let out a low yawn and allowed sleep to take over for the night. Anko and Naruto woke and had some breakfast. Then they got dressed. Anko picked Naruto up and held him in her arms. Ready to go, Squirt? Anko asked. Yup. Naruto yelled as he pumped his fist into the air for emphasis. They jumped through the forest, towards Konoha. They landed in the village and began to head to the Hyuga clan. While they on the road of the hidden leaf village, they got the sight of people cheering. Anko saw Kurenai and walked to her. Hey Kurenai, what all the cheering about? Anko asked. A ninja from the land of lightning come to signing to bring peacetrity between the two nations. Kurenai said. Ah, that's right, I forgot about that. Anko said. And, where are you going? Kurenai asked. We off to the Hyuga clan for Lady Hinata's birthday. Anko said. Naruto make a friend with the heiress of the Hyuga? Kurenai asked in surprise. Yes, yesterday at the park. Anko said. Excuse me. A voice said behind Anko. Anko, Naruto who's still in Anko's arms and Kurenai turned around and saw Leaf Genin walk towards them. He was wearing a pair of glasses, with a grey shirt and a grey pair of pants. He also wore grey fingerless gloves and shinobi sandals. He ran a hand through his silver hair as he smiled at them. Is that Naruto Uzumaki? A Genin asked. It's Naruto Midarashi now. And you are? Anko asked. Oh, how rude of me. My name is Kabuto Yakushi. Kabuto said. Well Kabuto, we really must get going. Anko said before she with Naruto walk off to the Hyuga clan. Kurenai walk off to the crowd. Kabuto walked to the alleyway, making sure he's alone. So, Anko adopted Naruto. Lord Orochimaru will like to hear this. The boy could become one of us's. Kabuto thought before he vanished with a puff of smoke. Anko walked right to the Hyuga clan with Naruto in her arms. When they at the Hyuga clan, Anko put Naruto down and took him by the hand. When they in the Hyuga clan house, they were greeted by Hiashi with Hinata behind his leg. Welcome and thank you for coming. Hiashi said. It is our pleasure, Lord Hyuga. Anko said with a bow. Hinata moves behind her father's leg shyly. Hi, and Naruto. Hinata said. Hi Hinata. Naruto said. So, that Naruto Midarashi that my brother told me about. A voice said. Anko and Naruto turned to see a man version of Hiashi and a small boy, a year older than Hinata. Anko, Naruto, this is my twin brother, Hisashi, and his son, Niji. Hiashi said. Nice to meet you. Anko said. You too. Hisashi said. Hi Niji. Naruto said nervously. Hi. Niji said. Hisashi, it is time to take Niji under my wing. Hiashi said. Yes, of course. Hisashi said. Somewhere in the forest, Kabuto is waiting for something or someone. The white man came. Kabuto bowed to him. Lord Orochimaru, I have some news about your ex-student, Anko Midarashi. Kabuto said. What about her? Orochimaru asked. She adopted Naruto Uzumaki, or should I said Naruto Midarashi, the container of the nine-tailed fox. Kabuto said. Orochimaru was surprised. His student has adopted the demon brat. I see. Orochimaru said. Do you want me to kill Naruto? Kabuto asked. No, I will personally see my student and her son. Orochimaru said. But Lord Orochimaru, do you truly think this is wise? Kabuto asked. Of course, I would like to see Anko and Naruto. Orochimaru said. Are you planning to put the cursed seal of heaven like you did on Anko? Kabuto asked with a smile. But not a bad idea, Kabuto. Orochimaru said with an evil smile. Back at the Hyuga clan, Hiashi was trained Hinata along with Naruto. Their kicks are still weak you too, but that why we training. Hiashi said. Yes, sire. Hinata and Naruto said at the same time. Naruto and Hinata run right to Hiashi. Hiashi dodged and blocked their attack. Anko, Hisashi and Niji are sitting near the wall. Niji's head is covered in bandages where the birdcage seal is. Niji, do you understand about your destiny? Hisashi asked. I understand, father. Niji said. Hisashi looked at his son for the moment, then smiled before he looked at Anko. Anko, are you planning to let Naruto to the academy next year? Hisashi asked. I'm not sure, I plan to, but I don't think so. Anko said. I think you should. I think he will be a great ninja, right Niji? Hisashi asked. Right father. Niji said. Hiashi has trained Naruto and Hinata for hours. Alright you two, we are done training. Hiashi said before he walks off. Hinata and Naruto walk outside and sit down. And Naruto, are you going to academy next year? Hinata asked. What academy? Naruto asked. The academy is where they begin to train new ninja. Hinata said. That cool. I'm going to ask mommy about that. Naruto said. A servant had come in to announce that dinner was fully prepared. Lady Hinata, dinner is ready. It's time for supper. Servant said. Oh okay, we will be tea there in a minute. Hinata said before she and Naruto stand up. Hinata lead him to the dining room. Anko and most of the Hyuga family was already seated around the dining table. Once Hinata and Naruto entered the room, Hinata lead Naruto to where they would be seating. Hinata sat right next to her father. Naruto sat next to his mother. A few hours later, it was nighttime. Anko picked Naruto up and held him in her arms. Thank you for inviting us, and happy birthday, Lady Hinata. Anko said with a bow. Bye, Hinata. Happy birthday. Naruto said. Be thank, why you and Naruto? Hinata said. Anko and Naruto headed home. Naruto fell asleep on the way. Before they got to the forest of death, cloud of smoke appeared in front of them. A Chunin with glasses and a headband tied on top of his head like a bandana. What do you want? Anko said. Lord Hokage would like to have a word with you. Chunin said. Alright, tell Lord Hokage that I'd be there as soon as I put Naruto to bed. Anko said as she walked on home. When they at home, Anko put Naruto to bed. Then she bit her thumb, made some hand signs, and she put her hand with her bleeding thumb on the ground. Summoning jutsu. Anko said. Suddenly a large cloud of smoke puffed through the area, revealing a 25-meter snake. Why did you summon me? Snake asked. Raziel, I've got a job for you. I need you to watch my squirt. Anko said. You summon me to rat sit? Raziel asked. Babysit. Just a few hours. Anko said. Fine. Raziel said. Thank you, I'll be back soon. Anko said before she head to the Hokage Tower. Raziel sighed as it settled down to watching the boy. At the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage had just finished his worst enemy paperwork. He looked out the window. Do you want to see me, Lord Hokage? A voice asked. The third Hokage turned around and saw Anko. Yes, I want you train Naruto to be able to enter the academy and become a genin. The third Hokage said. If I refuse, I'm not fully sure if I want Naruto to become one. Anko said. If you refuse, Kakashi will take Naruto to raise and train on his own. The third Hokage said. Fine, I'll begin Naruto's training first thing in the morning. Besides, he'd better a better ninja with my influence than Kakashi's. Anko said. Okay, dismissed. The third Hokage said. Anko walked off to her home. When she at home, she walked to her room. She thanked Raziel and Raziel muttered while vanishing. Anko walked to her son and slowly rubbed the side of cheek. Naruto, you'll be a great ninja. Anko said. Just then, there was a noise in the ring room. Anko went to look around, she then walked back to her room. Suddenly, 4 ninjas come out of nowhere and ambush Anko. Anko managed to beat 3 ninjas, but the 4th ninja grabbed her arm and twisted it behind her, and then had her arm wrapped around Anko's neck. Anko tried to struggle out of ninja's grip. Well, Anko, it's been a while. Boy said before he came out of the shadow. It was Orochimaru the Snake Sannin, which means that the ninjas are sound ninjas. Not just the sound ninjas, they are the sound 4. Seiken and Yukin on the right side of Orochimaru, Jirobo on the left side of Orochimaru, Kidomaru hanging upside down on the ceiling, and Taiya was the one who holding Anko. Orochimaru, why are you here? Anko asked in Archery. Oh, why so cold? I thought that you would have been happy to see me again after all these years. Orochimaru said. Lord Orochimaru, I got him. A voice said behind Orochimaru. Orochimaru turned around and saw a new member of the Sound 4, Kamimuro Kagaya, and he got Naruto lock in his arms. Naruto tried to struggle out of Kamimuro's grip. Mommy, Naruto cried. Naruto, let him go. Anko yelled. Now Anko, you shouldn't yell at your sensei like that. Orochimaru said. What do you want? Anko asked. I just want to see my former student son also make a run in family. Orochimaru said with an evil smile. Anko's eyes widened, as she know what he mean. Don't you dare put the cursed seal on my son. Anko yelled as she tries to get free. Why not? I think you'll be great with it. Orochimaru said. What a cursed seal? Naruto asked in fear. Oh, you find out, boy. Orochimaru said. Orochimaru made a set of hand signs, his neck shot forward. It slithered around, resembling a snake as it aimed straight for Naruto. Before Naruto could do anything, Orochimaru had latched onto the back of Naruto's neck, biting down with his fangs. He sat there for a moment, before slowly pulling away from Naruto's neck, and then the Sannin's own neck returned to its normal place. He smiled as the black marks appeared on the back of Naruto's neck, where the Sannin bit. Naruto cries in pain. Naruto. Orochimaru, you monster. Anko yelled. I just give him a family gift. Orochimaru said with a smile. Anko finally got free, grabbed a kunai from a pocket on her coat, and tossed a kunai at her former sensei. Orochimaru simply caught it between his fingers. Do slow, Anko. Orochimaru said. Orochimaru formed a one-handed seal to activate the curse seal on Anko to render her helpless. Anko dropped to her knees from the pain emanating from the seal on her shoulder. Let's see what he want the most, family or power. Orochimaru said before he walks back to the shadow and vanished. We'll meet again, Anko and Naruto. Taiya said before she and her members vanished with a puff of smoke. Anko quickly rose to her feet, run to Naruto and pick him up. Naruto is unconscious. Anko raced towards the hospital as fast as her legs would let her. 5 hours later, Anko sat by the narrow hospital bed, looking down at Naruto with sad eyes. The third Hokage was in the meeting at the Hyuga clan about the death of the head cloud ninja after he kidnapped Hinata. Naruto, I'm so sorry. I failed. Anko said as she cries. Just then, she heard the door open behind her. Anko turned around and saw the third Hokage, Hiashi, Kakashi and Kurenai. How is he? Hiashi asked. I don't know. He might be dead. Anko said. Mommy? A voice asked behind Anko. Anko turned around and saw Naruto sitting up and surprisingly, no cursed seal markings all over his face. Anko hugged Naruto and kissed his forehead. I'm here, son. Anko said. What happened? Kakashi asked. We were attacked by sound ninjas and Orochimaru. Anko said. Orochimaru? The third Hokage asked. Yes, somehow he knows that I adopted Naruto. Anko said. Anything else? Hiashi asked. Well, Orochimaru put the cursed seal of heaven on Naruto like he did to me. Anko said. Cursed seal of heaven? Kurenai asked in shock. Yes. Anko said. How do you feel, Naruto? The third Hokage asked. I fine. A little bit hurt but fine. Naruto said. May I see your neck? The third Hokage asked. Naruto looked at the third Hokage for the moment, then nodded. The third Hokage looked at the back of Naruto's neck and saw it, the cursed seal mark same as Anko's. He actually wondered how the cursed seal didn't do anything. He activated his Byakugan, looked at Naruto for the moment, then deactivated his Byakugan. Eyes, could we talk outside? Hiashi asked. One by one others walk out. Anko kissed Naruto's forehead. I'll be right back, Anko said before she walked out. When she outside of the room, she looked at Hiashi. When I look at Naruto with my Byakugan, I saw a red chakra is blocking the cursed seal. Hiashi said. Red chakra, that the chakra of the nine-tailed fox. Kakashi said. So, Naruto is safe? Anko asked. Look like it, Kurenai said. Well, I better take Naruto home, Anko said before she walks back in the room. Remember Anko, you have to train Naruto for the academy, the third Hokage said. Yeah, Anko said. When she got in the room, she picked Naruto up and held him in her arms. They head home. When they got home, Anko took a deep breath. Naruto, how would you like to go to the academy? Anko asked. Yeah, I want to do it, I want to be the ninja ever, Naruto said. Anko smiled at his enthusiasm. He reminded her of herself when she was little. Anko smiled and hugged him tightly. Alright, we'll begin your training in the morning. We're behind your friend so we have a lot to catch up on, Anko said. Anko and Naruto climbed into bed and turned out the lights. Anko fell asleep almost instantly, but Naruto lay there, staring at the ceiling. The thoughts of him being a ninja raced through his mind. He pictured himself in place of the ninja in the story they read the other night. He was saving the village, being cheered by everyone in the village. Naruto let out a low yawn and allowed sleep to take over for the night. Anko woke early. She had to admit that she was a slight bit worried for what could happen to Naruto in life. If she trains Naruto, the cursed seal will get stronger. At the same time though, she was excited. Naruto could earn wide acceptance from the village. Maybe even being regarded as a hero. He could also get to interact with other kids his age, allowing him to make even more friends. She quietly got herself ready and began to get things ready for the two of them to begin training. She took charts and weaponry to the room below, aka Naruto's playroom. She then brought various training dummies out and sat them around the ring. When that done, she went upstairs to get her scored in training. She entered the room and looked at the small boy sleeping. She gently bent down and scooped him up in her arms. From there, it was straight to the ring room below. She smiled. Slowly the sleeping form of Naruto was turned upside down, Anko now holding him by his ankles. Naruto Anko set out dreamily. Naruto opened his eyes slowly. Time to wake up, rat, Anko yelled. Naruto's eyes suddenly flashed wide open as Anko dropped him. He hit against the ring below him. He yelled in pain and looked up with a small amount of anger in his eyes, due to his rude awakening. What was that for, mommy? Naruto asked. Anko smacked him in the back of the head. Wrong. Every morning, from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., we will be training for your entrance into the academy. During this time, you will address me as Anko-sensei, not mommy. You got that, rat? Anko asked after yelling. Why yes, Anko-sensei, Naruto said. Good. Now let's start things out with a few trial and errors. First, let's see what kind of chakra you got, Anko said. Chakra? Naruto asked. You know, like the story, Anko said. Oh, that easy, Naruto said. He stood closing his eyes for a minute and then began to look like he was concentrating on something intently. Beads of sweat began to form on his forehead, as if he was in a struggle to do this. After about 2 minutes a very, very faint blue wave came from him. Anko was afraid of this. He lacked a mass amount, and what little bit he could produce, he had trouble getting out. At the same time though, she was happy that the cursed seal didn't cover his body. Just like I was afraid. You lack the ability to be able to easily produce chakra, Anko said, his blue eyes full of question. Anko walked over to a small chart and pointed at the picture. See, the body has something called a chakra network. It carries chakra through the body, allowing us to use skills that ninja use, like the ability to make copies, teleport, things like that. In other words, to become a successful ninja you need to be able to produce more chakra through these. You got it? Anko asked. I think so, Naruto said. Don't worry, it'll become easier to grasp as we begin to train more. Let's move on to the next test, Anko said. Naruto nodded and followed her over to a small case. She bent down and opened the box revealing kunai and shuriken. Anko noticed Naruto's eyes widen as he saw all of these. She realized that he must have been thinking back to when he playing with Tenten earlier. You remember using these, rat? Anko asked. Yes, Anko-sensei, Tenten and I use them when playing ninja. Are we going to play too? Naruto asked. Anko once again smacked the back of his head. We're not here to play, rat. We're here to train. Now grab 10 of those shuriken. I need to make sure that you didn't just get lucky when you hit the targets few days ago, Anko said. Naruto nodded and took 10 of the shuriken. He then walked over to face one of the dummies, standing directly across from it. He closed his eyes for a minute and then opened them up. On my count, Anko said. Naruto is getting ready to throw. 1, 2, 3. Anko yelled. Naruto threw all the shuriken at the dummy. He closed his eyes as he listened to them make their impact. Next he slowly opened his eyes to see how he had done with this part of the test. Anko was already over at the dummy writing something down on a notepad. She looked back at Naruto. 6 out of 10, rat. Not as good as few days ago, but you are definitely further along than you are with chakra. Grab 5 of those kunai and try to hit the dummy with them now, Anko said. Naruto nodded and walked over to the case. He grabbed 5 of the said weapon and then once again returned to his previous spot to resume the test. He once again took a deep breath and threw them towards the dummy. Anko walked towards the dummy and once again jotted something down in her book. 4 out of 5, not bad for a rat, Anko said. Naruto smiled at his accomplishment, but a stern glare from Anko told him not to be celebrating yet. He quieted down and waited for the woman to instruct him on what came next. Anko marked something down in her book. Alright, your skills with weapons are definitely above average for your age. Don't let it go to